30 years ago, when the rest of Melbourne was busy writing heritage reports to preserve Victorian Federation-style houses and streetscapes, mid-century modern architecture was not being considered. As a result of this oversight, we have lost many of these one-off homes, and they were never replaced. Now the tide has turned somewhat, with mid-century modern homes becoming more and more popular. The significance and importance of those homes is slowly but surely becoming more understood.
Thanks to Melanote for sponsoring this episode. What makes mid-century modern homes, such as Wilko's, so striking and desirable? They're known for having simple forms with low sloping or flat roofs, walls of windows, and a focus on integrating with nature. When you combine that with functional open spaces, natural materials, and a pop of colour here and there, it's really no surprise that these homes are timeless. Loving Wilko's home, I wanted to use Melanote to put together some mood boards and a product list that highlights some of the key design elements. Melanote is a digital tool for organising your creative projects, allowing you to keep everything you need in one place. You can create different boards for different purposes, like how I created a mood board for the interior, one for the garden, and a product list. I just love how easy it was to create my mid-century modern inspired mood board. One feature I particularly love is the eyedropper tool, allowing me to select exact colours to help create that dreamy material and colour palette. While the mood board is a perfect way to visualise the overall look, the product board organises everything in a simple list, with the ability to use links to product pages for easy referencing. Melanote is free to use, so sign up using my link in the description below and start creating your own inspired mood boards.
In 1939, the Dunlop Rubber Company purchased a large area of Beaumaris, 20 kilometers southeast of Melbourne CBD, to build a garden city for the factory and workers to live in. But the war put their plans on hold, and so by the early 1950s, Beaumaris was largely undeveloped, and the attractive beachside land was sold off. Many young, up-and-coming architects bought plots and experimented with their bold early designs, building their own homes. At one stage, Beaumaris had over 50 resident architects. Our original mid-century house was modest and very run down, with a bad 70s makeover. That were arches and medieval kitchen and doors, plus mission brown window frames, beams and timber paneling. While we were able to restore the exterior once we removed the 70s makeover internally, together with the damage, there was not enough substance left of the mid-century house. So we decided to be sympathetic to the time rather than to have a true restoration project. Over the course of 4 years, I did most of the carpentry, worked on the plumbing and electrics, painting and restoring the windows. When you step inside, you're greeted with a large entry, which is actually around 10% of the overall floor area of this modest house. One grand gesture makes a rather small house feeling not so small, providing generosity in some aspects. This grand entrance is located between the sleeping and living zones. To the south, 3 bedrooms and a bathroom with kitchen, dining and living, with a small powder room to the north. We removed a single wall in the original kitchen layout to truly open the living area. A northwest deck connects the dining and living. Bringing the home's energy efficiency up to today's standard was an essential aspect of the project. The exterior walls, floors and roofs were insulated and received an internal vapour barrier to increase thermal comfort and airtightness. We added 26 solar panels totaling around 10 kilowatts, a 7-star ducted gas heater with add-on cooling, which runs in summer 100% of the solar. A highly efficient instantaneous water heater replaced the old hot water unit. The large areas of the glazing to the northwest has been perfectly designed, with a larger eave to allow the low winter sun in, but block the high summer sun off the glazing to avoid overheating. A highly efficient fan-forced wood fire adds further comfort in winter and heats the whole house. When it came to selecting the materials, great emphasis was put on creating a cohesiveness between the spaces to make a modest home appear larger, by having spaces internally and externally merge into each other. It was important to us to choose natural materials like timber to complement the existing floors and add a green feature color to the kitchen exhaust and light fittings to reflect the green of the existing trees, which are the main feature in the garden. The materials are also referenced to those used in the original mid-century homes, but more contemporary versions were used in our home. In Australia, prior to the late 1950s, housing design was very English-inspired, with small windows and dark interiors not suited for the Australian climate. When the war was over, there was a time of optimism and experimentation in housing design, with big windows, flat roofs and an abundance of colours inside. We finally had our own unique Australian style. Other great achievements of Australian mid-century architecture were the creation of the efficient floor plans and modest design, mainly triggered by the lack of building materials at the time. Sadly, we have largely gone backwards these days, so right now, with current skyrocketing building costs, it would make sense to reconsider what we build. Perhaps swapping out the mock French provincials, which are completely inappropriate and unsuitable for our climate, with the clever principles of modern architecture.